All right, in this video, I'm going to talk about how we compost in our 4-unit apartment building with about 2 to 3 households contributing to the compost pile on my desktop here. I just recorded a few videos today, but I also have some photos that I took throughout the season. Just wanted to go over them and explain how we do things. But first, let's start with like the kitchen scrap. So this is like what we usually have out. It's just where we catch our daily coffee grinds and tea bags and eggshells. We have a larger bucket that we use to collect some of the bigger scraps when we cook. And then, let's see, this is what the garden looks like right now at the moment. It's November, it's winter. And yeah, we have a few fruit trees. This whole lineup right here is going to be fruit trees. And so there's just always stuff coming off the tree, whether it's rotted fruit or plant material. That goes all in the compost. And we also grow tomatoes, pumpkins, peppers, all sorts of stuff. And having all these fruits and vegetables just puts so much vegetative green material into the compost almost all year round. Then we also have this large oak tree in the back, and that puts off a ton of dead leaves and green leaves year round. And so here's an example of what we collect on any given day, just blowing the patio. So let's get to the compost bins. I have 2 Geobins that I bought off Amazon for about 36 bucks. So I have 2 of them. You could easily get away with 1, but just with so much that we're collecting and processing, it helps to have 2 to just shuffle between the 2. And then I picked up a few extra closure keys just because we make them so big, and you can see how they're buckling at some points. So just having some extra keys helps keep it a little bit more rigid. This one has a few extra ones. This one doesn't yet. I'm going to take this one apart and get whatever's finished in there, rebuild it again, and then start over with some of these materials right here. Oh, and then I also have a thermometer, a compost thermometer, which I'll show you more in a second. I just keep it stuck in one of these. It should be good throughout the season. It doesn't get too cold here. Here are the Geobins, plenty of holes for it to breathe, get air in. You can see it's been covered recently. Someone dumped a bunch of kitchen scraps, and then we'll just shovel out some of this material in here and cover it up. That's for garbage, any kind of plastic waste, those to scoop out any leaves we collect, and we'll mix it in as we build the pile. And then this green bin is what we would usually use to dump all these leaves that come off the tree. If I were to be doing that, we'd be putting this out every week and still barely make a dent in how much biomass just accumulates in this backyard garden. And then previously I was using 2 garbage cans with holes drilled in them and no holes on the bottom. And that's fine for one household, but it's not really practical for the composting we're doing at this stage. Oh, and there's the big oak tree that puts off a ton of yard waste. And so by composting, we essentially never have to put these green bins out. And it's surprising how much waste will pile up. There will be a pile of leaves usually, but just constantly adding it to the compost, you watch it shrink down and almost melt into insect poop. I'll show you a little bit of photos from throughout the season. This is when I first got both Geobins, and you can see it's a lot of brown material at this stage of the season. It actually caused it to get pretty hot. We're pushing into the 140 range, which is a bit much. You want to keep it between this 120 midpoint. Yeah, almost hitting 140. And so I decided to just take it apart and break it down and reshuffle it. As you can see, there's a lot of more brown material. Yeah, and so what I do is I take one Geobin, put it over here, rebuild it, break this down, and then maybe mix up between the 3 just to make sure this one has a good starting balance. And then there'll be some finished material that I'll pull off to the side and put into the garden beds. And so here's some of the finished core of it. Of course, there's always going to be that corn on the cob that just will never go away. Let's see. I think this is another time when I decided to reshuffle it. We put a lot of cannabis in the compost this season, and the smell of mixing up fresh cannabis, really pungent, combined with the pungent smells of compost is one of the strongest I've ever smelled, and probably one of my most favorite scents. Two of my most favorite scents combined into the ultimate pungent scent. Yeah, so this is what it looks like throughout the season. Trimming down some cherimoya leaves. Oh yeah, so this is a good video of just how alive everything is, just crawling. Everything's moving, and it really comes to life. Let's see. There's like beetles in there, a bunch of like mealworms. Oh yeah, that's a good video. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, the time it hit 140 again. Putting more caterpillar moldy cannabis in the bins. Yeah, and that's about it. I would recommend picking up these Geobins, getting a thermometer, a few buckets, little containers for your kitchen scraps. I think this is the quickest and easiest way to start composting now. If you have a backyard, have a bunch of yard waste, don't want to keep buying soil, and just want to improve the soil in your backyard. And ultimately, this puts off, I don't know if it fully replaces the amount of soil, because I just buy it anyways when I start new potted plants, but you're spending maybe about $100 for all the materials I just listed. And I really do think you get that back in soil every year. So it pays for itself if you have the kind of configuration or garden that we do. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.